Greetings and salutations. It's been, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe like a month and a half since I have updated you guys on what's going on with my thyroid and with the book and just everything going on in my life. So I thought today's the day, let's do it. Lots happening right now. So we did a month-long RV trip. We went to, let's see, Wisconsin, Michigan, Washington, DC for the 4th. And then we went down to Florida to check on our house that we just remodeled. If you haven't seen that, that's on my second channel. I did the whole like remodeling series on that house over on that channel. And then from there, we went up to Nashville to film a collaboration with Chris Delisle from Chris Cooking Nashville. So I filmed him for my podcast and then I was on his channel. I'll put a link to his video. It's out. It's a tavern style pizza, like a Chicago style pizza that's completely carnivore. It's amazing, mind-blowing. Like, you need to try this recipe. And then his podcast should be out when you're watching this one. I think I released it on the 14th, so be sure to check that out. He has a very powerful story. And did you know that he's also a musician? I think most people realize that because he's talked about it a lot, but I had him sing a little bit for us and play the guitar in that podcast. Holy smokes, like, rock star. Him and his wife Ash are just amazing. I love them. If you're watching, I love you. I love you so much. I have also been a guest on several channels recently. So the first one was Kelly Hogan. I adore Kelly. It was me, Serena from Carnivore Revolution, and Courtney Luna. We were all talking about our sugar diet experiences. So if you've watched my channel, if you're watching this video, you're one of my diehards. So yeah, you know. I did a 8-day sugar diet experiment where I did before and after blood work, DEXA scans, and continuous glucose monitoring, and had a terrible time, and you know, all of that. Serena and Courtney both were experimenting with adding some carbs back in and kind of went off the rails. So that was a really good conversation. At the end of that video, Kelly and Serena were talking a lot about fat fasting. Which I always find very curious. And they were talking about like just doing heavy cream for a day. And for me, with the thyroid stuff, like any kind of liquid dairy is a no-go, right? They were mentioning how if they did heavy cream with no protein, so like they would have issues if they had a cheeseburger or things like that. So maybe just the heavy cream on its own would be okay. So I'm like, screw it, I'll give it a shot. So I went and bought like the cleanest heavy cream I could find short of raw heavy cream. I cannot get that in my area, at least not quickly and easily. I think I have to drive like 30 minutes and then it's not always available. So I got that and I did experiment with a day of fat fasting using heavy cream. And it did not work for me. I did lose weight, mind you, I did. I lost like 2 pounds in a day, but I felt like complete garbage. So I don't think I'm going to be experimenting with the heavy cream fat fasting again until I get the Hashimoto's under control. After that, maybe. And I am doing a raw milk experiment coming up in September. So perhaps that wouldn't have, you know, a raw heavy cream wouldn't give me such a reaction. So my reaction was I just felt very lethargic, general malaise. I had achy joints and I had a headache. I don't really get a lot of gastrointestinal stuff from it. It just gives me an inflammatory response. So that was that. But Serena and Kelly both have amazing results with heavy cream. So, you know, again, everything is so individualized. And I think that's something that I feel like we've all been talking about in this community for a little bit now. Like, what works for me won't necessarily work for you and vice versa. And I think we all need to kind of figure out what works best for ourselves and our lived experience and whatever conditions we're dealing with and all that kind of stuff. And then I was a guest on Courtney Luna's channel. We did kind of a girl chat. It was awesome. It was Britt, Serena, Courtney, and me. And we had such a good conversation. I need to talk to Courtney about doing another one of those because that was super fun. And we were just talking about, you know, all of our experiences with trying to add carbs back in and like if you fall off the wagon, how to get back on the carnivore wagon and all that kind of stuff. Such a good conversation. I'm going to link that video in the description. I'll link Kelly's too. Both were awesome. So you may notice that I'm in a different room than my living room. I got an office. This office is pretty close to the house and my husband and I are sharing it. I've set up this back area with these like soundproofing, pretty little soundproofing boards, and I've got all my lights here and everything set up. I'm still trying to figure out the lighting situation a little bit more and kind of streamline things with my audio and all that. But the reason I got this office is because my boys, they're going to be 4 in November, right? And they are still napping, but not every day. And currently, well, before the office, the only way that I could shoot video was if I did it when they were napping. So I could shoot between like 1 and 3. That's not really conducive to filming a lot of videos or filming podcasts or things like that. My podcast, I love interviewing people, and I can't just only record during those times. Before we left for our trip, we had gone and looked at a few different offices in the area. This one is really great because it's not super expensive, pretty good hours as far as like when I can use the office, and it's quiet, and it's month to month. So if we were like, oh, we gotta go, we gotta travel for 3 months or something, I could just shut this down and, re-rent it when we get back. So really, really happy about this space. Eventually, I'd like to have an in-person podcast space where people can come to me and we can film them and all that kind of stuff. That's way down the road, but this is a start. And I don't know, it's kind of, I don't wanna say like a dream come true or anything, but just like this channel is my full-time job. My job is helping people full-time, and having an office space where I can do that and create this content and film podcasts and do all this stuff is just kind of like a culmination of a few years of really hard work. And it's just the next step, So yeah, very excited about this space, and I'm loving the way it's coming together. Moving on, let's talk about the book. My book, Complete Carnivore, is coming out on November 4th. I've changed release dates a few times. It was originally like April and then September, and now it's November 4th. And honestly, I'm really happy that it's November 4th. I am going to be doing a book signing at Hack Your Health. The conference is the 14th, 15th, and 16th, I believe, and it's in Tampa. I'll put a link in the description to get tickets. I think you can get $100 off if you use my code Jenny Middich. Great conference, amazing. There's a big carnivore focus this year. I'm going to be doing a book signing, and I'm going to be doing a cooking demo. So I'll take one of the recipes from the book and be cooking it for you. Bring your book. I'd love to sign it for you. And I will have books available at the venue as well. Right now, the book is available for pre-order. If you're watching this video, you're one of my diehards. You're one of my original gangster, ride or die supporters. And I love that. I love you to death. The cool thing about Amazon is you don't pay for the book until it ships. So if you pre-order it right now, you're not even gonna pay for it until I think November 3rd or the 4th when they ship it. And then also, if you pre-order it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, I believe you get the least, the cheapest price it ever was during that pre-order period. So right now, I think it's $39.95. If the price goes down at any time after you've pre-ordered it, you get the cheapest price on release day. So that's pretty cool. What does pre-ordering a book do for an author? So when you pre-order a book, it creates buzz. And then the publisher is able to go out to Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all these different brick and mortar stores and be like, oh, hey, we have so many pre-orders already. People are really excited about this book. You need to have it on bookstore shelves on release day. You're gonna get a lot of people wanting to buy this book. And if there's enough pre-orders, these brick and mortar places will be like, you know what, yeah, let's order some. And then that just kind of helps get the book pushed out to more and more places where people can buy it. So if you can pre-order it, it's a huge deal. I thank you in advance. I really, really, really appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you. This book was a labor of love. I really think you're gonna love it. And I really can't wait to hold it in my hands. I'll definitely do an update video when I have a copy that I can hold up to you. Right now we're in layout, so everything is being laid out on the page, and we're hoping to send it for printing in the beginning of September. So then that'll take about a month, and then we'll have the copies available starting in October, and then they get distributed. Takes about a month for distribution, and then it's released. So amazing. Craziness. Honestly, I I always wanted to write a book, but I didn't know that this was going to be my first one. And when Victory Belt got a hold of me and asked if I wanted to write a cookbook, I was like, I don't really want to write a cookbook, but I would love to write an in-depth guide to the carnivore diet, and then maybe do some recipes too. And it kind of just it evolved from there into both. This book is like an encyclopedia. It's for everybody. It's for people that have been on carnivore for 15 years. It's for people that have been on carnivore for 3 days, Everybody can find some value in this book. Links are in the description. If you can, pre-order it. It's a huge, huge, huge help for me, and I really, really appreciate it. All right, so next up, let's move into thyroid stuff, because I'm constantly talking about it, and I am already sick of talking about it. I hate it when it always comes up. It always comes up, though, for me, because I'm tired. I'm always tired. But I have been doing some things and dialed in a few lifestyle and supplement things and nutrition things that I have been feeling a little bit better. I would say before I started doing this about 2 weeks ago, I was operating at about 20% energy. So like I'd wake up in the morning and I would feel like I hadn't slept at all and I was just dragging ass throughout the day. Now, like the past couple of days, I've noticed I've had a lot more energy. I feel like I'm operating at about 60 to 70% energy, which is a huge increase for me. I definitely still have a ways to go, and I have a few more things I need to dial in, but holy smokes, like that's a big deal. So I kind of want to talk about what I've been doing. So first off, I am on thyroid medication. I take an NP thyroid for the T4. I'm taking liothyronine for the T3, and then I'm doing a desiccated beef thyroid supplement from Ancestral Supplements. That stack, we have adjusted it over the past 6 months, and my blood work now is like beautiful. My free T3 is really, really good. My reverse T3 is low. My free T4 is dialed in. My TSH is really, really low right now because it's suppressed because I'm on medication, but that's okay for now. And my antibodies, they've always been low. Like I think the highest I've ever had it was like 17, but the fatigue symptoms, we don't treat the blood work, we treat the symptoms, right? So all that's dialed in, and I was still really tired. So I was like, what the hell, because I have been banking on these thyroid meds just doing the trick. I've read in lots of books, like people started taking Armour Thyroid or whatever, and it's like they had wings and they could start doing stuff again. And I will say that like I felt a little better initially every time I would up the dose, but then that would kind of fade away. And now I'm just kind of, great, I'm taking meds, but it's not really doing anything. At least my body is getting what it needs. But yeah, it was very frustrating. So this summer on the RV trip, I decided to read some books. The first two are from Dr. Isabella Wentz. One is Hashimoto's Thyroiditis Root Cause, and the other is her Hashimoto's Protocol book. She's really well known in the thyroid space for Hashimoto's specifically. She is a pharmacist that has treated her own Hashimoto's. And these books were really good. They were this one's kind of all over the place and, not really a carnivore-based solution. But I did discover a few good things in this one. This one actually kind of lays out a plan. So for her, what she's talking about is there's 3 reasons why autoimmune issues happen. So there's a genetic component. And, you can't really do anything about your genes, right? You can do something about the expression of the genes. That's kind of where like environment comes into play, right? So environment is the second one. What do you eat? What do you drink? Where do you live? What are you breathing? What's your water like? What chemicals are you exposed to? All that kind of stuff. And then the third thing that can cause autoimmune issues is gut-related stuff. So a leaky gut. And when I read that, something in my mind clicked. Like I was like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense. So in any autoimmune condition, there is a leaky gut component. And out of those 3 things, genetic, environmental, or leaky gut, the leaky gut is the low-hanging fruit. Like you can fix that pretty quickly. And then if you fix that, you have to have all 3 of those factors in place in order for an autoimmune condition to express itself, to become an issue. And if you take care of the gut, then your autoimmunity in theory should heal. That's what I got from this book. And then she lays out some protocols, but a lot of them have a lot of like plant foods and things. And I really didn't want to do that because I have not had a lot of success including plant foods. I then moved on to the next book, which I feel like somebody at hack your health. No. I feel like somebody at Meat Stock gave me a couple of pictures of this book and the other one, because this is gut and physiology syndrome, GAPS, and then there's gut and psychology syndrome. And this one is basically just talking about a protocol to heal your gut and how the gut is the root of everything. So going through this book and these two books, I kind of built myself an animal-based, a carnivore protocol. Now there is a no plants GAPS diet in here, but my antibodies have always been so low that I was like, I really think I'm in the beginning stages of Hashimoto's, that I don't need to go like full hardcore, just drinking broth and like going really, really slow. I've already cut gluten. I already cut dairy. I've cut alcohol and all these other things that are inflammatory, nightshades, peppers and tomatoes and things like that. So like, I think I had most of it dialed in. So instead I have been experimenting with a protocol. I'm still making adjustments, but I am going to share with you what has been most effective for me, because maybe you can take some of this and implement it in your own healing journey, and maybe it'll help you, because just the fact that I've gone from 20% energy up to like 60 to 70 is a big deal. And I know how debilitating the fatigue can be. And if you're watching and you are suffering from hardcore fatigue, maybe some of these things can help. So I'm going to have a full protocol, a few months from now, once I get it all figured out, once I actually put the Hashimoto's into remission, because I am 100% confident that I can do so now that I've learned a little bit more. I have a few interviews with some thyroid experts. We're going to dive into some of the supplements and science and kind of molecular things that we need to dial in, but just know that I'm working on it. And here's what I'm doing right now. So let me talk about leaky gut. So there's lots of causes for leaky gut, right? I think for me, my past alcohol consumption, I used to be a raging alcoholic, okay? I drank every single day from probably my late teens until my early 30s, like all the time. I also used to use a ton of ibuprofen. So past NSAID use is a root cause of why leaky gut can happen. Now I have quit ibuprofen. I haven't taken that since, I think the boys were about 1, but that can be a reason why leaky gut happens. And I took a ton of it. Next, chronic stress. So when you're chronically stressed out, that can affect the intestinal lining. It can make it more susceptible to the toxins that are around it, and kind of make the junctures between cells get a little looser. So I've been dealing with a lot of stress the past few years. I mean, I think we all dealt with 2020 and everything that went with that. That was a crazy stressful time. And then we had the twins. My pregnancy was not great. I gained a lot of weight. It was very stressful. And then newborns, 2 newborns. It's a lot. Going through all of that, I had this terrible stress response right before the boys' first birthday. I was trying to make everything perfect, and I was like so stressed out, not getting enough sleep. I actually had to go to the hospital. I woke up one morning and I had terrible heartburn and pain in my chest, like right here. I thought I was having a heart attack, so I went in an ambulance to the hospital, and no, it was fine. It was stress. Crazy. Last summer, I had a family member that was in the hospital for a month. They almost died, and I was their primary caretaker. And that was incredibly stressful. It was in South Carolina, so like I was basically down there. My parents and Goran's parents watched the boys for the most part, and I cared for my family member. It was a lot. It was a lot. I signed the book deal right at the same time. And so then I wrote a book for the second half of the year. The stress was incredible. So I really think the chronic stress over the past like 5 or so years has been part of it, a part of why my gut is leaky. So I'm trying to dial that in. Sleep. I never get quality sleep. I've just now the past few days been able to get like full nights of sleep, and it's like a game changer. Little kids, man. What am I going to do? Am I going to go to bed at 7:30 or 8 p.m.? Dr. Wentz talks about how like, try to get 12 hours of sleep. No, that doesn't work. Like, what are you talking about? Harry or Max wakes up at like 6-ish a.m. So, and then, we put him to bed at like 8:30. Goran and I need to wind down. So we watch some shows together and, chill, So I'm not getting to sleep by like 10, and then they at least wake up once per night. So sleep is not on the cards right now. I'm trying really hard with that. I think another possible cause could be toxins in the environment. So I used to use a ton of different skincare products. I don't do as much anymore. Water, I've been filtering my water through a Berkey for a very long time to get the fluoride out and all that kind of stuff. But you know, if you ever go swimming in chlorinated water, or if you drink regular tap water from time to time, or if you're at a restaurant, whatever, you know, that's in the water. Air quality, I wonder if there's mold in the house, but I don't think so. Microplastics, forever chemicals, pesticides, all those kind of things can be a root cause issue of why your gut is leaking. Gut dysbiosis, so good bacteria versus bad bacteria. And so many people's microbiome is so messed up. That's just a product of the modern world in which we live. So there could be an issue where I have like I've been overrun with bad bacteria. And then there's always the possibility of infections. So parasites, viral infections, fungal, bacterial, COVID. We got COVID for the first and only time in 2023. So there are so many things that could be playing into why I have a leaky gut. I feel like a lot of people have a leaky gut. Anybody with an autoimmune issue definitely does. But there are solutions. There are in fact solutions to leaky gut, and they're not anything that's super hard. So the first thing is I recommend getting this book. It's meaty, it has a lot in it, but it gives you some good strategies of like what to cut, what to include, blah, 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 blah. So what I've been doing is focusing on a few things. So the first is I am doing a meat stock of cartilage heavy, like collagen rich meat stock, not a bone broth, a meat stock. So a lot of people with autoimmune issues have histamine issues, and if you cook a bone broth for like 24 hours, it's very high in histamine. So we're not using bones here. I'm using cow feet or pig's feet. I've used pig tails, pig snouts. I like to do a piece of pork, like a pork shank in there. And what else did I get? Oh, I just got some meat from Billy Doe Meats. They're actually in Hoffman Estates, which is very close to me. And they are an amazing, very low histamine meat brand. They were at Meat Stock, and I didn't get a chance to talk to them in person, but I've been talking to Hoda, who is one of the owners, and they just have an incredible story. Their meat is slaughtered and then almost instantly frozen. Like they freeze it so quickly so the histamine can't build up in it. They just sent me a whole bunch of products. So I'm going to be including, I think, some goat knuckles in there and some different meats. So really excited about that. But anyways, back to the meat stock. So basically, gut healing protocol. You are going to do meat stock. You're gonna do a few cups of that a day. So what I do is throw all that stuff into a big old stock pot, and I cover it with 2 liters of my water that's filtered through my Berkey, and then I put in like 2 tablespoons of a Celtic sea salt. So you want some kind of unrefined salt. Bring it up to a boil until it's boiling, and then turn it down to low and let that simmer for 3 to 5 hours. I stir it around a few times to try to, let the meat fall off the bone. And then I, strain all of the meat and bones out. And then I just store that in a metal or glass container. And it's delicious. It looks like Jell-O when you're pulling it out. And then they always say like, oh, heat it on the stove. I just use the microwave. Does it destroy some nutrients? I don't know, but fine for me, for convenience. And then I am adding some more collagen into it. Now I know this is kind of overkill because there's so much collagen already in the meat stock, but what I like to do is then add in 2 tablespoons of this collagen peptides from Vital Proteins. This dissolves really well, and I'm just trying to get as much collagen as possible. So when you do collagen-rich, cartilage-rich meat stocks, it is so healing to the gut. So healing. You need all of those connective tissues to heal the lining of your intestines. So that's what I've been doing, at least 2 cups of that per day. Then I'm moving into L-glutamine. This is science-backed, very, very, very effective. I have been including this for about, a week and a half, and I think this is why I'm feeling better. This right here, I'm gonna link it in the description. This is from Pure Encapsulations. They're a very clean brand. And this, I'll link a few studies in the description as well. This has been shown to tighten the junctures between the cells in your intestines. So in your intestines, that wall inside the tube of your intestines, it's only a cell thick. It's very thin. Any kind of cause that's causing your leaky gut. So if you're drinking alcohol, you're drinking tons of coffee, if you have a moldy environment you're living in, if you have chronic stress, it's very, it happens quickly where the junctures get loose, right? This will tighten them up so quickly. It's an amino acid, it's a protein, and it's been shown to do that in many studies. I'm using 12 grams per day. So this is a 3-gram serving for their little scoop, and you drink this with just water, and you want to do it on an empty stomach. Now, I worked my way up to that because you can have reactions to this. And when I say reactions, like it can be anxiety, it could be a few other things, gastrointestinal distress. So I started very, very low. I started with like half of a serving per day in water. So you take it on an empty stomach, you wait 30 minutes, and then you can move on with your day. So what I'm doing is thyroid meds in the first thing in the morning, and I'm doing that with some lemon water to help with absorption. And then after an hour passes, I do 1.5 scoops of this. I'm trying to do 3 servings per day. So I'm doing like 4.5 grams, 4.5 grams, and 3 grams to get it all in. Just because the timing sucks with you have to do it on an empty stomach. So I'm doing that next, and then I wait 30 minutes, and then I go in and I do my meat stock broth with the 2 tablespoons of collagen. And then from there, I move on with my day and I eat my food, and then I time it out to where you have to wait at least 2 hours after food in order to do another serving of this. So around noonish, I will do another serving of this, and then I'll eat food, and then I do another one of these at night. And that has been working for me. I've also been taking a ton of supplements, and I hesitate to share exactly what I'm using right now because I am, still experimenting, but there is like a liver and gallbladder support, there is an amino support, there B complex, obviously selenium, zinc, I'll put a whole list in the description of the stuff that I'm taking currently, but that list could change because I am always trying to optimize and figure out exactly, what's gonna make me feel my best. All right, I've turned off the above office lights because I feel like they're so harsh. I really, really need to work on lighting in here. Maybe get some like lighting in the back here, and I don't know. I'm gonna keep experimenting with it until I look my best. It's always something. Let's see here. What else do I want to talk about today? I'm also thinking about doing a parasite protocol after I get through the leaky gut stuff. So I'm doing kind of like a liver detoxification pathway cleansing, and then focusing in on gut and adrenals. I'm doing all of this stuff at the same time, but the gut is really kind of been my main focus. But parasite protocol might be next. I am doing a symptom journal. I don't have it right here, but every morning I'm waking up and I am writing down how I feel, how much I weigh, fatigue levels, and then like going through and checking off all of the things that I'm trying to do every single day. Really trying to dial in the sleep. I have been able to get the boys to stay asleep all night the past like 5 nights. Actually, last night, Max, he pooped and we had to change his diaper overnight, but that was the first time in a few days, and I've been getting really good sleep. So I'm really trying to concentrate on getting enough sleep because that is really important. I've been doing a lot of sauna. So I've been doing the sauna every day this week for 20 to 25 minutes. It's usually like 190 degrees and just sweating out as much as I can. And I will say, the fatigue has improved. I've also noticed that I am definitely clearing some toxins because I've been doing many things. Epsom salt baths, dry brushing before that. And I noticed the other day, I was not feeling great for a few days. I had a little bit of a headache, and then this lymph node had swollen. It was painful. And I'm like, all right, I'm clearing some stuff. So that was good. Something is happening, and it's kind of been like throwing spaghetti at a wall for a really long time, but now I feel like I'm moving in the right direction. And again, I'll link all of this stuff in the description below, and just stay tuned for a full, like Hashimoto's protocol that I'm gonna put together for you eventually. I want to make sure that I am feeling 100% better, before I'm gonna recommend anything to you. And of course, everything is highly individualized. So if I was going to say, say, like, if you needed to try something right now, I'd probably say the L-glutamine powder. Anybody that's had cancer or is currently dealing with cancer should not use L-glutamine powder or L-glutamine in any form. Everybody else, though, it's fine. And I worked really slowly up. It took me about a week and a half to get to the full dose. Doesn't taste great, but it's doing the trick, I think. And then I would say the meat stock. Doing the really cartilage heavy meat stock is also incredibly healing for the gut. So yeah, that's everything that's been going on for me right now. I've been getting back into the gym. I've been full carnivore. You know, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I had been experimenting with adding in carbs and it didn't work. All I did was gain fat. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of, I wouldn't say high fat. I've been doing like a moderate fat, higher protein version of carnivore. I've been really focusing on getting a lot of protein, typically between 130 to 175 grams per day, and kind of letting my body tap into its own fat stores. But I'm still doing like, I don't know, 60-40 fat to protein, or like 65-35 fat to protein, and it's been really effective. So yeah, I just wanted to do this update video. I'll have a lot more for you coming up. Thank you always for your support of me and for watching these videos and for leaving encouraging messages and things like that. And if any of this stuff you want to try out, I've linked it all in the description. Sometimes there's coupon codes if I've been able to get those for you and all that jazz. So this video has already gone on too long. So I'm gonna go and I will see you again soon. I will do another update video in the next few weeks to a month as my symptoms continue to improve. I have full faith that they will. I really do think, with what I know now, I think I'll be able to put the Hashimoto's into remission, and whatever I learn, I will share it with you. No gatekeeping, no, you know, behind a paywall or anything like that, completely for free, so that you can feel better too. Because I think if we can get the entire world to an optimal baseline level of health, just imagine the kind of world that would be, you know? All right, so that's it. It was great catching up with you, and I will see you in the next video.